So my name is Paulo Barone, and I'm here to talk to you about live mesh. I'm not nearly as good as Mike, so please don't be too mad at me. I'll start with a question. Does anybody use already live mesh? Kind of, okay, so I have something to tell you about. Can anybody try to describe what live mesh is? Oh wow, that's wide. Let's try, okay? Now, who owns a smartphone? Who owns more than one PC, maybe a desktop at home, a media center, a laptop? We have islands of data at the moment, right? I have my contacts on my work PC. I have other contacts on my home PC. I have some photos on my own PC. I have music on my own PC, something that I would like to have with me sometimes when I'm traveling. I don't want to be forced to copy stuff back and forth all the time. We are at the point where internet connectivity is ubiquitous, at least in the UK for sure, in the US, in many other parts of the world. We connect with 3G speed using our mobile phones. What mesh tries to achieve is basically give us a way of managing all our data on any device, regardless of the device that we are using. It's still early stages. What we are going to see now is a very early technical preview. It's not even a beta version. So we are not quite there yet. But the final vision is to allow everyone to manage data on all devices they prefer and have it available whenever they need it. With all the devices working together, providing access anywhere there's network connectivity, in a simple way to share, and allowing people to stay up to date with their information. So let's go and start with a demo, and I'll show you what live mesh actually is. We'll start from the mesh.com website, which is the main portal where you can go to sign up for the services and start using it. Good news is, as of, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, Mesh has been open to UK users. Before it was for US users only. Now you can go sign up. There's no wait list anymore. You can just go sign in. If you have a live ID, you can get access to live mesh. It's like that in the US, UK, Ireland, India, Australia, New Zealand, English only. So if you have friends outside of these countries, just tell them to switch temporarily their settings to UK or Ireland or whatever, English language, and they can get in. So let me go and sign in. All I need is my normal live ID. The first thing that I see is my device ring. My device ring is basically a representation of all the devices that I added to my mesh. Let's start with the live desktop. The live desktop is basically an environment where mesh is going to store all my files that I am sharing. I can create folders. And what I can do with these folders, let me close down PowerPoint, define on which devices I want to have these folders available. So as soon as I do it, let me see if you'll see that it appears on my desktop. Right? I didn't have to do anything at this stage. I have this icon representing that I have a live mesh folder available. I can do the same, creating a folder here. All I need to do is right-click on it, add folder to live mesh, and I can decide on which devices I want to share it. I'll want it to all my virtual machines and my media center at home. It will create the mesh folder. You will see that the folder will change color now to show that it's a live mesh folder. It attaches to my folder this little window here that shows me clearly that this is a mesh folder from which I can access some interesting information. One is basically an RSS feed of news that regard that folder. By default, I just created this live folder so that gets published. Let me go to my live desktop. And here is the folder. Didn't have to do anything. It just appeared there. I have another virtual machine now here where I can find exactly the same folder. As you can see, I did not need to do anything, just saying on which machines I want to have this folder replicated. Let me close this, let me close this. Now, I'm getting kind of a fan of the new live search homepage in the US. Don't know if you have had a chance to see it, but basically they're probably publishing nice photos which are related to the Olympics on live search homepage. So I'm collecting these images. What if I want to share these images on some other PCs? I just copied them inside this folder. It will take a second to replicate. And without the need of me doing anything, I will see those photos in both the folders. Yeah?
What happens if two files are changed in different places, the same file in two different places, and then how do you actually solve the conflict?
You will get a conflict warning, and you can ask, and you'll be asked how to resolve the conflict warning, saying if you want to keep this version or if you want to keep another version. So we see that now they appeared, and Mesh is starting downloading these images. It's doing it on my live desktop, which means it's accessible from this browser. It's doing it on my virtual machine as well. Another thing that Mesh allows me to do, it gives me this window here from where I can control my mesh. I can control all the devices that I have in my ring. I can control all the folders that I shared with whoever I shared them, and gives me a list of all the news related to the folders and to the files that I shared. So interesting, I have a media center PC at home. Let's see if the photos made it there. I just click to connect to the device, connect here. This is just a normal machine connected behind the NAT, behind the router. I didn't have to do anything to configure it to provide access. It just happens. Hopefully we'll respond. I'm always a bit worried when I do this with the remote network. In the meantime, while it's trying, let's look at the live desktop. I'm probably asking him to upload too much stuff. But what I can do is I can watch these images here using a media player-like type of interface. And of course, now they are here in my visual machine. I can look at them here too. There we are. I didn't need to do anything. It just did it for me. I'm logging in my machine at home now, and you will see that I have exactly the same folder with exactly the same files. Now, how difficult is to get mesh? It's actually quite easy. And one of the nice things that I can do, I can invite other people to join my shared folders, which means what we've seen so far is only about me, right? my devices and my files that I can share across all of them. But what if I want to invite someone else to share some documents? Think about, for example, a team which works remotely and who want to share documents amongst themselves. What I can do, I can invite members to access any folder that I share on Mesh. All I need to do is to enter their email address. They will receive an email saying that I'm inviting them to share, to access my folder. I just click on the invitation. It will connect to Mesh. It will validate, of course, my invite and will give me the option to join that folder and start receiving that data.
To do that, they don't have to have Mesh themselves.
At the moment, I don't have Mesh on this machine, so I'll show you. Right now, what I do, I just access the live desktop. I don't have any client software here. This is a fresh install that I did this morning. All I need to have is a live ID that allows me to access my invitation.
So
Yeah.
it's supported by any platform, any browser?
It's supported, this is a good question. We can try with Firefox. I haven't tried it yet, actually.
It does.
Yeah, I'm not sure about, so I'm quite positive about Firefox. I tried it with Firefox 2, not with Firefox 3. Don't know about the Mac, but if it's not, it's definitely in the plan. Again, don't forget, this is still very early stages.
So iPhones, etc., will be supported in the future?
I would rather bet yes than no. So I have this invitation. I can accept the invite. And here it is. Just in my browser, I did not need to install anything. I already had a Mesh account, but if I didn't, in this case, receiving the invitation, it would create it on the fly. It will take a little bit to replicate the images, but here they are. Again, very easy, very straightforward. What I can do here,
Now they're there, are they on your machine as well?
no, at this moment, no, they are only on the live desktop.
Does it cache them anywhere on the PC?
No, it doesn't, no. I can download them and have them on my PC, yes, but while they're there, and if I access them with this, not sure what it's trying to install. Oh, I think it's trying to install Silverlight because I don't have Silverlight on this machine. I can see them straight away. Since it uses Silverlight, it doesn't cache them actually.
So if it uses Silverlight, does that mean that it's dependent upon Silverlight?
No, just if I want to do this view media thing. If I don't, no problem. I can download them directly. If I want to do the slideshow thing, then that's a Silverlight component. Right? So I added a node here. And I see the node already in this other thing. So it allows to exchange information, confirmation that we received, and send the files back and forth, etc., etc. Now, I think that is cool. What does it take to install it? Just click on devices. Again, this is a brand new user. I haven't installed Mesh yet. All I need to do is install a fairly small client application, which is basically the thing that I have here that will provide me all the additional features and the integration with the desktop and so on and so forth. If I don't want to, I still have access to all my files. Again, if I'm traveling, I go to an internet cafe, I really need a copy of that PowerPoint presentation that I forgot and left behind. I have my memory stick, go to an internet cafe, download it, put it on the memory stick, and off I go. How many of you ever lost their favorites, for example, because you changed your PC and you forgot to make a backup copy? Right? Yeah, I did too. That's nice. Okay. What I can do, actually...
Security implications of this approach.
Oh, there are a few, yeah. The point is, I have a slide on that, actually. At the moment, this is not an enterprise product. This is a consumer product, which is targeted to the consumer business, right? So for home, it's a completely different story that can be in a company. You can disable mesh if you are in a company right away, and I have a slide on how to do it. I'll show it. It's quite straightforward. Of course, the team is considering integrating with group policies and all the rest of it to give IT departments a more granular control. And of course, if your users are not administrators on their machines, well, they can't install the client, which makes it more difficult for them to use Live Mesh. As you can see now, this is an empty ring, which already gives me some indication that soon I'll be able to add mobile phones. Soon I'll be able to add Macs. And I don't know if any of you read LiveSide or other blogs that follow Live. They know that a Mac client has been leaked and then taken away a couple of weeks ago. So hope that will be released soon. All I need to do is click on this plus that allows me to add this device. Say that I want to install the client, provide my credentials, and off I go. And I start receiving my files on my desktop as well. And again, very easy to do, and I can do it wherever I want. Any other questions about this?
I guess you have to have some quota on
Yep.
server, so you cannot just upload a limited number of files, right?
Right. So how much stuff can I share? There's a 5 gigabyte quota on what you can store on your live desktop. The good news is, though, if you have more and if you want to share more, it can work in a P2P mode, meaning you are not sharing the information on the live desktop just between your client machines. The downside of that is it will only work when these two machines are online at the same time, of course. If you use your live desktop, you fire one machine up, then switch it off, fire up another one, everything gets replicated. If you do P2P, you need to have them online at the same time. Size of all contents in one live folder is 10 gigabytes. It doesn't override the quota for your live desktop, but in a P2P scenario, you can have a folder as big as 10 gigabytes. What happens if you put more stuff on the folder than you can on your live desktop? It will just automatically switch to P2P. So whatever doesn't go on the live desktop gets replicated directly between the devices. Then individual file size, 2 gigabytes, maximum 200 folders, 100,000 items per live folder, and some other information. Yep?
Will there be a subscription service?
As far as I know, at the moment, the plan is to have it free of charge.
So you could pay and get more space? Or?
That's definitely one option that may happen in the future, just we don't know at the moment. Again, it's still really, really early stages. The reason why this is out there is because we want people to start testing it and use it. And okay, so have you seen it already? Groove, folder share, SkyDrive. How is this different? I thought I saw it already. I thought, yeah, this is like Groove. This is like folder share or SkyDrive. I was wrong. If you think it is, you are wrong too. It's actually more. It's much more than that. What we're seeing is just a user experience. What we're seeing is a sample of what can happen using this technology, right? It's a very important application because sharing information across devices, having it always available for us is very important, but it's just the beginning of something. It's software. We have a client on our machine. So it's not just a service that we subscribe to and is available there. It's something that we have with us on our machines and it's always available with us. Even if, for example, we don't have internet access. Even if, for example, for whatever reason the mesh is down. It's a platform that provides an infrastructure. And the biggest part of this infrastructure is provides data, application, relationship with them. And is a cloud service that provides an implementation of this platform. What does this mean? This is key. It will provide a developer framework and a set of APIs that developers can tap in to create applications that use the mesh infrastructure, which provides data synchronization model, communication, sync notification, and a feed-based extensibility. What does this mean? If you know how to use RSS, if you know how to use Atom, if you know how to use JSON, if you know how to use plain old XML, you can create application that will take advantage of Live Mesh and what Live Mesh provides to you. Stay tuned for PDC. Hope some of you can manage to get there, but that's where we expect some further announcements to be done. And if you look at the list of sessions at PDCs, there are already a few sessions listed about Mesh and the developer model. Now, going back to the original question, can you describe what Mesh is? And somebody says it's cloud computing, right? What is actually the cloud? The cloud is somewhere, something happening that allows us to interact with the devices that we have, with data, do stuff that we want to do with other people, sharing information, play with them, send them music, and all the rest of it. But what is it effectively? This is the cloud. Whatever people say, this is the cloud, right? A massive number of servers that are somewhere where all this stuff is saved. Don't know if you follow the news about cloud computing and services and what happened in the last couple of months or so. Many cloud services started, having significant downtimes. Amazon, Google, Apple. We had too. Hotmail had their own downtimes at time. Where we believe that the mesh concept and the software plus services concept wins is because it's built not just on pure cloud services. Again, this thing can go down anytime. I don't want to lose my data. I want to be able to work. I want to be able to compose my emails even if I can't connect to the web at this moment in time. I want to be able to access my photos, my music, even if I don't have internet connectivity. So just to give you an idea of the scale of what this means, with all the services that we rolled out at the moment, and you may be more or less familiar with some of these. Just think about these numbers. What it means to manage an infrastructure that is able to handle these numbers. The head of the Microsoft Global Foundation Services, which is a way of saying she is the head of all our data centers, at a presentation with some press some time ago said that we are adding 10,000 servers per month to this infrastructure. Facebook as a whole runs on 10,000 servers. We are adding 10,000 servers, meaning one Facebook a month, to our cloud infrastructure. What does it mean effectively? The reason why Mesh at the moment is on a preview, is not yet a release product, is that we need to test that it's working. We need to test that it scales. That's why it's been released on stages. We didn't try to do a big bang. That's why the APIs have not been released yet, and it will happen over time. We want to be very careful about how we do these things and want to make sure that we have a stable and robust platform that we can release to people and that people can use and trust. Enterprise and companies, big or small, yes, big question mark. Can I allow my users to install Mesh or use Mesh from their PCs? Most likely, in many cases, the answer will be no. For example, here we are allowed. I can access my PC at home. Nobody's going to tell me anything. It's fine. The other way around, from home, accessing my PC, the way I access my PC at home is exactly the same way I access my PC at work. If I leave my desktop on with the live Mesh client installed from home, I can bypass all the IT securities and get into it. So that's a no. That's a no-no, right? If you manage an infrastructure, all you need to do to block Mesh from working completely is just block any HTTP or HTTPS traffic to mesh.com and all its subdomains. There's a knowledge base article that provides a bit more details if you want to let people access their live desktop only, not installing the client and not installing the remote desktop, which is the most dangerous piece. But it's doable. Again, perfect answer? Not at this moment. Can you expect a better answer moving forward? Definitely. The team is very concerned about security, is very concerned about privacy, and I am sure that they will release group policies and all the rest of it that will allow to manage this in a proper way. There are scenarios where enterprises actually will want to use Mesh for themselves. Maybe not large enterprises, but think about small companies. We already have seen a few scenarios of small companies who want to share documents between teams that are, for example, traveling. This is a very efficient way of letting them access this data and then being able to have this data available on their desktop, which means think about a mobile worker that goes to places where he doesn't have necessarily always access to the internet. He can still work, and he can still work with these tools. He can still use Office. He can still use whatever software they're using because he has his data all on his PC. So, any other questions? I guess I was a bit quick.
If you can block access for your employees to use Mesh by simply blocking access to the Mesh domain, does that mean all traffic is proxied via the Mesh service?
Yeah.
It doesn't do any clever NAT if you're behind the same router or anything like that?
No, it doesn't. In a P2P scenario, it does, but the very first contact between the two clients goes through the cloud anyway, which means if you block it, it won't be able to recognize that there's another one close by.
I saw that installing XP and Vista supports for those clients. On Microsoft Server. Oh, I see.
At the moment, no. There's workarounds to install on server version of Windows, but at the moment it's not the main target.
Can you hint what that workaround is?
Sorry?
Can you hint what that workaround is?
I don't remember, but if you search on LiveSide, you'll find it. There's a number of blogs that published it.
What are your thoughts about, if you like, licensing Mesh for enterprises themselves? So enterprises can run their own meshes.
I suspect that there are. They have not been announced at the moment. Again, at the moment, this is a consumer technology. One trend that we've seen in the past is that consumer technologies spark interest in enterprises and then they want it. So at the moment, today, no, nothing has been announced, nothing has been formalized. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if this is going to happen. The point is, look at enterprises using Groove, right? They find advantages in using it. But you may argue that Groove, in many enterprise scenarios, may be a better answer for what enterprises need to do. Yep.
And when downloading files, are they going to be like something which you click and then save as, or is it you drag and drop, or is it you click a button in live mesh, and it will just download a Google file? Or
So mesh works by using folders. Whatever you save in a mesh folder will be replicated. There's some exclusions, like it won't replicate PST files.
but say you didn't have live desktop set up on the desktop, they just have the live mesh interface, and that's the way you share your files across.
All right, yeah. Now, all you need to do, if you don't have it, and if you are connected just with the live desktop, for example, upload file, and there you go.
And then we want to take the file off the live mesh onto your desktop. Is it just the same procedure? Or
Yeah, once I upload it there, so now I have this mesh.jpg, right? Since it goes in a folder that I am replicating, which is the work desktop folder,
yeah, I see it there.
here it is coming. So again, the live desktop is a mesh client by itself. It just works 100% into the browser, which means whatever you do there will be then propagated into all your devices.
There's a way of dragging literally from the browser or downloading from the browser to anywhere on your desktop. So
That
say,
doesn't have a client installed.
yeah, so say you haven't got.
No, at the moment, no. And the point is, it doesn't require any plugins or anything to be installed into your browser, other than Silverlight for the media thing. Moving forward, may it happen? Yeah, I don't see why not. It may.
So probably a better thing could be for quicker access and stuff, rather than having to necessarily install like an execute program on your desktops.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's why I'm just-
Yeah. Again, I suspect that it will happen. It's not happened yet. Yep.
Would you describe this kind of consumer level folder synchronization thing as just the first service under the live mesh umbrella?
Absolutely, yeah.
There's gonna be-
Yeah.
So are things like the SQL Server Data Services, I think it's called, like SQL Server on the cloud, is that going to be part of live mesh?
No, okay, that's part of what we call foundation services. So you can see that as storage in the cloud, if you like.
Right.
Mesh uses a storage in the cloud.
So they're both storage in the cloud.
In a way, yes.
In what way are they not?
The point is, again, SSDS is just data that you access from your client application, right? Mesh is more than that. It's a platform, which means we already see an application. We will not, well, SSDS is just a product by itself that you can go and consume, right? You can create your application, connect to it, and start accessing data. With Mesh, we are providing a user experience that we are not with SSDS.
Okay.
It does have storage, because we are saving data somewhere, then yes. But Mesh is not storage. Am I confusing
Well,
things?
is it maybe the types of things that you're storing in it that's different? So SSDS is you would define your table structures and so on, just like normal.
Yeah,
database
exactly.
structures. And then you need to write your own front end to that. Whereas it's more files. So it has to be a file that you're storing in Mesh. Is that right? Can it store a table?
It's a feed.
It's a feed.
It's an RSS feed, RSS or whatever. The files that we store are enclosures in that feed. whatever you can share using a feed, again, XML, Atom, JSON, will be stored in the mesh. What does it mean? It means that clever people will do clever stuff. It really does. I mean, we've seen people doing just amazing things with whatever development platform they happen to put their hands on.
Right.
And that's the point. This will allow to store and synchronize feeds. If you think about it, it's very smart,
Yeah.
because a feed being XML and is extensible, right?
Yeah.
So I can define my own feed the way I want.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Thanks. I think I get it now.
Does it provide?
It took me a long time, so
Yeah.
here's my-
That's the key.
yeah, sorry.
Does it provide any notification services? So someone has added a file to your folder.
Yes, it does. And here it is. Again, very early stage. I added this using the live desktop, and I have this notification here. At the moment, I can't subscribe, for example, to this RSS feed. Moving forward, I expect that I'll be able to subscribe to this RSS feed. And this is just one of the feeds that are available via Mesh, which means nothing prevents me from writing an application that will analyze this feed. And for example, if someone deletes something, will fire out an email and kick off some workflow. Again, the sharing files thing is big. So many people will see it as cool, I can share my files. It's just a tiny thing, a tiny bit of what can be achieved with Mesh. Again, really, really early. It takes a little bit to get the idea. The point is, again, have you ever written an application that requires some level of synchronization for offline access for your users, right? Well, guess what? If you use this, that part has been taken care of.
Are there any thoughts about quality of service? So, is it just a kind of best endeavours synchronization, or is there something built into it where you can?
At the moment, it is. Again, I don't think that there are any firm plans, but I expect there will be. And again, it always depends on the way it gets provided to the market. If it's a free service, of course, it's going to be different from a paid-for service. The point is, though, again, we are not in this business to fail. So our objective is, anyway, we are always aiming for 100% availability, right? The thing I would put my money on is that you will not lose your data. There's been a lot of rumor about Google Apps going down a couple of weeks ago. Yes, it's annoying, but I would have been sure that I would not lose my data. Okay, I didn't have access to my data during that outage, but I was sure I was not going to lose my data. Same thing with Amazon. Same thing when Hotmail went down. If you're willing to pay money to have a 3.9 service, well, then most probably something like this is not really what you're aiming for. But there are a lot of other cases where, I'm not that concerned. If it goes down for an hour or a couple of hours, I'm fine.
If you receive ticket confirmation and you are flying for 4 hours and you are just waiting for Google, please.
No, agreed, yeah. But we're talking about email now. Email is becoming more business critical than other services. And again, it's all about how much you care and how much you're willing. What is the price that you're going to give to a guaranteed availability? It's all about that. And now, how often did it happen to you that your corporate email was down and you were not able to receive that ticket? So my question would then be, who do you trust more? Someone who manages those number of servers and who know that 1 minute downtime multiplied 1 million users means 1 million downtime, 1 million minutes downtime, or someone who's managing a much smaller environment. And
SLA then,
I've seen things in enterprises that you know what? I'll go with Google. I'll go with Hotmail.
So what's getting announced at PDC?
Hmm?
What's getting announced at PDC?
Go to BDC. And, I really wish I knew. They're really keeping their lips very well. One thing we believe is going to be announced is the development model.
Fair enough.
And the development model is all going to be about feeds. There's a video by Ori Amiga on Channel 9. Ori Amiga is one of the program managers behind Mesh, and there's another one by one of the architects in the team, which already tells you a lot. And what we'll see at PDC is going to be the tooling to access that. I definitely recommend, if you are interested, go to Channel 9. I'll try to give you the links so you can share the links to these videos. There's this 1 hour video with Ori Amiga which will blow your mind away. I promise you, it's amazing. It really is. I've seen demos of stuff which is really cool. Again, I really wish I already had a software development kit. I don't. I really wish we already had a better answer for enterprises and for a managed environment. We don't. I'm really excited we have it though.
That's a big question. What kind of applications then do you expect people to write for this, like as an example? So what do you expect people to do by extending this? Like I had an idea where you could buy music online and that would automatically download to your device or something like that. You know, is there sort of things that you're expecting people to develop, or people still coming, you know, or are you sort of still finding that out?
We are still finding that out. The point is, it depends also on what kind of support we'll get from device manufacturers. Think about, okay, the nice photo frame, right? That we have at home. I can upload pictures there. Make it a mesh device. It means you can subscribe to that.
On my mobile phone, have it linked to a mesh and automatically goes online as soon as I take it. 'Cause it's
Exactly.
straight to the software.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Exactly. That's definitely something that is going to come. For sure, absolutely. Now, think about other stuff. And again, it's not just about files and photos, right? It's about feeds. Think about me having a device at home that tells me that, for example, its temperature in the house is dropping below a certain level. I get a notification, and I decide if I want to switch on my heating or not.
So you could actually get a message at work saying,
If I'm not at work, I'm not connected. As soon as I connect, I get the message.
And so it's more of so the file sharing is just an example.
Exactly. It's just about synchronizing information across multiple devices. Depending on the kind of device, you can do all sorts of different things.
What about the integration and sharing of applications? For example, if I had a password database and I had all my websites, my passwords in, and that was the database itself was a file, was synchronized on Mesh, would I be able to go into any computer around the world which I haven't installed on and be able to automatically sort of bring up a client, whether it be a Silverlight client or a client that it recognised the platform I was on and downloaded a compatible client to allow me to run that application?
I cannot tell yes for sure. I'd be more surprised if that was not the case. So if you ask me if I was a betting person, yes, that's where I would put my money on. Being able to write applications that I can access on my desktop and on the cloud as well. How complex these applications can be, I don't know, but I would definitely be surprised if that was not the case.
Do you expect that to be integrated into the UI?
I expect that to be potentially integrated into the UI, yeah.
Does the mesh support SSL? So if you were, say, at an internet cafe and downloading the file,
Yeah.
Can you encrypt that
Yeah.
communication?
So everything that goes through the client is definitely encrypted, and yeah, also on the live desktop. So actually, if you want to block it, you need to block both HTTP and HTTPS.
You mentioned that there was a trick to convincing it that you were US, because I know earlier today, Fixed Mesh was still saying US only.
Was it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's, you seem to imply some sort of, it identified the PC.
No, because again, I started downloading it here, and this is a UK. We are in the UK. This is a machine with the UK settings, and I am able to install it. It definitely works in the UK. Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, India, US.
So how did you identify UK? Because it was just when I
Your local, on the regional settings. So the trick until it was open was to set your regional settings to ENUS, and you were able to install it. And then you can afterwards revert back. It's not the browser setting though, it's the regional settings on your OS.
If this is a free service, does that mean it'll be full of targeted advertising based on files you upload through it?
I have no idea how they're going to monetize this. I really absolutely have no idea. It may happen, yeah.
But I suppose if you're using the SDK, then you can bypass the adverts.
using the SDK, you won't necessarily be consuming the adverts anyway. You'll be talking to your own app.
Yeah. The point is, we get advertising in games now, so. Are we really bothered about seeing advertising? I'm not. I never click on it.
I pay not to see.
I'm not too fussy about that. You know, okay. Do you see an advertising there? No, I don't, because I'm reading here and don't read there. But hang on, Rome for 60 euros. That sounds cool. I was there on Sunday, so it's fun. Now, yeah, again, I don't know how it's going to be monetized, or what's been said so far at the moment is a free service. Again, it may happen, it may not. Still way too early to say.
It certainly seems to work better than mobile me, that's for sure. And it's still only tech.
Never used the mobile me, so I can't possibly comment. So again, it's installing here. It's a virtual PC, so it takes a little bit more. It takes literally 5 minutes to install on a decent machine. 10 minutes and you're all up and running and all your files arrive. So again, this is my PC at home. And I didn't need to do anything. I didn't need to configure my router or anything. I just have access to all my data. It works in a slightly different way from RDP, which means if there's someone at home now, they'll see what I'm doing. I can hide the desktop on the remote device by clicking here, which means it becomes black. Otherwise, they will see what I'm doing.
Can they take control of the mouse while you're...
Yeah,
So you
it's
can see what they're doing, so-
collaborative if you like. So it may be useful in cases you want to help people do stuff. It's not a replacement for remote support. It could be used for that as well, yeah.
Can they hear what you're doing?
Huh?
Can they hear what you're doing?
What do you mean can they hear?
If the screen goes black, can they still hear what's happening?
The speakers are turned on.
No. Because, you know, one way I use this at home, my desk where I'm working, this is a media center PC connected to my TV and my speakers, right? So one way I use this, I control my media center and I select the music that I want to hear. If I would use RDP, the music would be sent to my laptop. With this one, the music is still sent to my TV. If I blank my screen, I'll probably still hear the music. So I guess they would hear me clicking if there's any audio feedback.
You're obviously connected to your home media center.
Yeah.
Since you left it on. Is there going to be any remote booting capability?
That's something that definitely I've seen is being discussed. The main issue with that is on the router side and having routers that will allow magic packets to go. The other big issue is here all I had to do is install the client on my machine, right? I didn't need any dynamic DNS. I don't need to know the IP address. I don't need to know the machine name, whatever. I don't need any of this. I can use magic packets now and wake up my machine remotely. I need to know my IAP, or I need to know to have a dynamic DNS. I need to install a client software here. I need to install client software there. I need to open the ports on the router. The big thing is how well is this going to be received, and whether the router manufacturer are going to help us implementing things that will make this transparent. If it's not transparent and it's easy to use, it will defeat its purpose. Its purpose is basically, once you set it up, you don't need to worry about anything. So my mom, could start taking photos and have them saved on her machine.
I'm just thinking where everybody's obviously pushing for a grid environment.
Absolutely, yeah. So ideally what I would like to see is, these are my devices. My media center is offline. Switch it on. That's what I would like to see. Definitely, I know that they are thinking about it. The way it's going to be technically done, not sure yet, but it's definitely something that is being considered.
Just going back to devices again, I heard a rumour that the reason why, because a lot of people are speculating about, say, Flash and Silverlight on iPhone, and I heard a rumour that Silverlight has actually been developed in-house in Microsoft and it's running and working on iPhone. The problem is Steve Jobs not wanting it to run. Is that probably going to be a similar case with things like Live Mesh?
If I knew the answer to this question, I would have a lot of money, I think. It means that I would have very good connections. Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah. Now, again, if you ask me, it's all about how big and how important this becomes and what kind of relationship happens at very high levels. Yeah. Yes, I really wish I knew this kind of stuff.
I hope Apple lets it happen. They should be open.
I agree, yeah.
Well, halfway there, you mean that maybe I'm missing the point here, but Silverlight will run on Macs, won't it?
Yes.
It's different. Mac is a much more open environment than the iPhone. And from what I know, the reason why it would be extremely difficult to implement either Flash or Silverlight on the iPhone is that Safari on the iPhone does not have an add-in support, which means you can't. Now, maybe someone hacked Safari on a jailbroken iPhones and managed to install an add-in there. Maybe. I have no idea.
Theoretically, I suppose Microsoft could create an Internet Explorer, put it on the iApp Store or whatever it's called.
Yes, you still have the hurdle that, for example, Quick have, which is you have to pass.
Yeah.
But again, it's their business model. Quite frankly, if you think about it, now seriously speaking, is the way game consoles work, right? You can't develop a game. And we'll see that in October when you come and we'll talk about XNA. But traditionally, you're not able to develop a game for a console if you are not a registered game developer. For a number of good reasons, for a number of commercial reasons, it's a business model. It's a fair business model. Everybody's entitled to have the business model that they prefer. Apple is very successful with that. They're selling tons of apps. I personally hope that this will be big enough and interesting enough that we'll see it on iPhone, but we'll see it on Android, we'll see it everywhere. Yep.
One question about the security issues, possible security issues. I understood the way you were talking about you could actually break the security barriers by accessing from the home. Now, how easy is it to break these security barriers if you have actually this technology installed in two companies with actually good kind of barriers? is it actually easy to break it from outside? How easy is it? So
I don't think that the main concern is someone being able to break in. Is rather from what I read, because I haven't read anything about anyone hacking into Mesh. Okay, it's very early, so maybe they haven't even tried, right? The main concern is especially people accessing data from outside, from a machine where you have no control and being able to access data that otherwise they wouldn't be able to access. Think about enterprises who, for example, log the use of USB keys, don't allow you to take any data away. This is a mean of taking data away from your controlled environment. So that's the concern number one. Hacking in, I don't know, I'm not sure. The point is you have to pass, to be able to access via either remote control or get access to the feed, you have to go through the Mesh cloud. You need to be authenticated there. And that's where all the matching of identities happens. So you need to hack there. And I'm quite sure that, it should be strong enough. Again, if I was, Microsoft, and I would know that my employees access Windows source code with this, I can be nervous. Yes, absolutely. Yeah?
When you break a relationship between the laptop or media center, will it automatically delete all the folders?
No, what happens is, okay, now I go here. I am 99.9% sure, but I don't want to lose these photos. So let me put the photos back. I go on my live desktop and I delete the folder from there, right? This is the folder, right? Word desktop folder. I delete it from there, which means this is not a Mesh folder anymore. It turns yellow. It's just a normal folder on my desktop now. I don't have any data in the cloud anymore. I still have it as normal folder on all the devices where the data was originally synchronized.
Could you demonstrate the conflict resolution?
So I already have a folder called work desktop folder here on the virtual machine, right? And I have another one. I add it to the mesh again. And I say I want to have it on the virtual PC too. Oh no, it will create a copy. Hang on. Let me take this picture now and try to copy it here. I manage sometimes. I don't know how I did it.
You probably need to disconnect from the mesh, edit something in two different places, and then see how it resolves those two different edits.
Yep. So let me try to sign. I just sign out of mesh here.
see like other
Okay, so I created new text document on my desktop. I created new text document here. At the moment, it's, from what I've seen, it's manual, so there's no magic happening in doing automatic, even trying to do automatic conflict resolution. I know that it's being looked after. One scenario that it's really interesting for people is being able to have, for example, your source files, if you're working on projects, replicated between different machines. Oops.
Does it have any concept of retaining history of changes?
No, at the moment, no. And that's one thing. If you start using mesh, be aware that if you delete a folder, it's fine because the folder doesn't get, maybe if you start deleting files, they'll be deleted everywhere. If you overwrite a file, it will be overwritten everywhere. So there's no source control, if you like. There's no history, there's nothing like that. You will have the log of knowing who did that, but again, all you can do is kick his but that's it.
Can we have nested folders?
Sorry?
Can we have nested folders? So subdirectories.
Let's give it a try. I've never tried.
You should be able to work fine.
Yes, no reason not to.
Let's see, it should come. Oh, there we are. You see, I get this notification for an unresolved conflict. And again, Mesh cannot assume that I'm watching the screen at any moment in time, so don't expect Mesh to give you a pop-up right there. That was the image. I can decide which one I want. That's as far as it goes at the moment. It tells me who did it.
Yeah, it would be handy, of course, if it told you which device it was.
Yeah, there's definitely something that is being seen. Again, really early stages. So at least I can see the files. I can save as a different item, or I can just say keep this one and the other one will be deleted.
I did test the iPhone while you were talking, but the live desktop broke. I'm pretty sure it's using asynchronous JavaScript to get it all done, and the live desktop broke when you started to make it.
Because you use the browser.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one thing that I haven't shown. If you want, we can give it a try. Again, we don't have a mobile client yet, but it's still possible to access the live desktop using your Windows mobile phone. And let's see if I manage. Let me see if I manage to be very, very geeky now.
Oh.
What is this? Unblock. Come on. It worked before. I tried, I swear. Because I don't think you can see my screen, can you? No, hang on, that's why it's still connecting. And I'm doing it with Bluetooth, so it's probably not his preferred method. But I forgot my USB cable at home, so unless you have a USB cable. I knew someone would have that. Let's see, something seems to be happening.
Did you say there was a Channel 9 video?
Yeah.
On using SDK?
On presenting the content. It goes in more detail than what I said about the feeds and all the rest of it. It does not present the SDK yet because there's no SDK available at the moment. But it's very well done and explains in very good detail what the plans are. Let's give it a last try. Let me try to reopen this. No, doesn't seem to be working. Sorry about that. Anyway, it's nothing but a normal interface where you can browse your folders using a normal mobile type of interface on your Pocket IE. Nothing too exciting at the moment. It's more to show that it's somehow doable. I've seen some demos of hacking and making it automatic, but still uses the IE interface. Don't know when the mobile client is coming. Hope it's coming soon. But it will. It definitely will. For Windows Mobile 6, it will definitely arrive.
Cool. I think that's all the time we have for tonight. So thanks very much. Any other questions before we can wrap up and do the giveaway? What?